Hello everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. Return or exchange any time that used to be the LL Bean promise.
It's not right. In my eyes, it's basically theft.
But the Bean Boot manufacturer says it had to change its lifetime return policy because too many people were cheating the system.
And a thief snatches memories and mementos from a combat veteran. He's hoping that you can help him get them back.
Also ahead, the Olympics are officially underway. We've got a behind-the-scenes look at the opening ceremony in South Korea.
You know those big electricity bills people have been getting lately? Well, there's a scientific unit of measurement to help you anticipate that heating demand.
All right, this is News Center Now. Hello and happy Friday, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. We will explain all the big changes from LL Bean in just a moment. But first, a story you'll only see on News Center Now.
Yeah, an Iraq war veteran is asking for help catching a thief. Christina Rex says he really just wants his stolen items returned. Has more on that story. Hey, K-Rex.
Hey, guys. Yeah, Laquette Manning doesn't want revenge. He doesn't even want his money back. He just wants a prized possession that has brought him comfort through that tough challenge of returning to civilian life after war.
I hadn't been part of a team in a long time. Then I met Team Simplify, and they gave it to me. It just felt like being part of a team again, so I just started taking it everywhere I went.
It's a simple item, one we all carry. A backpack, but it means so much more to Army combat veteran Laquette Manning.
I took it to Colorado, Jamaica, Georgia, California.
A black backpack with the words Semper Fi on the front, meaning always faithful.
That's all I want back, my bag.
Thursday night, Manning was home when he heard noise outside. He looked out and says he saw a man rummaging through his car.
Went to the door and yelled at him, and he took off running.
He took Manning's spare keys and some money, but he doesn't even want those back. He just wants his backpack.
A lot of people died so I can get that bag.
In the backpack, a coin given by his supervisor on his tour in Iraq, and 2 letters from kids thanking him for his service. The backpack comes from the Semper Fi Fund, an organization dedicated to helping disabled veterans when they come home.
It gave me a sense of purpose.
Manning struggles with a head injury, seizures, knee problems, and PTSD. He says the organization has changed his life.
They call me a teammate, and I hadn't heard that since the Army. And I just it felt good, someone to say that.
That's why the safe return of his backpack is so important.
Well, it gave me confidence and courage to continue my life.
Westbrook police are investigating that burglary. If you have any information, you're encouraged to call Westbrook Police. That number is 854-0644. Lee and Lindsay.
All right, Christina, thank you. Really hope we can get that backpack back to that young man. Thank you. All right, so remember Wednesday? That was so much fun that the weather department thinks so also. So we're going to get more freezing rain.
Keith, you were having a blast in that snow.
I was, yeah. This time, I guess if I ski, it's going to be on my own time this time around. But some more snow on the way, moving across upstate New York into southern parts of Vermont. It's part of a warm front, and ahead of it, we have that overrunning snow, as we call it, as the air overruns this boundary and the colder air underneath it. It's relatively light, but it's consistent, as you can see, back into Buffalo and all the way to Chicago. So that's moving in tonight from southwest to northeast. It'll move in here around 9-10 o'clock over southwestern Maine. By midnight, most of the state is seeing at least light snow, and it's all snow as temperatures are in the 20s. But by tomorrow morning, warmer air rides in along the coastline. We change over to rain showers there, stays snow showers in the mountains, and then by the afternoon it clears out a bit before another wave moves in on Saturday night into Sunday. That's snow again in the mountains, rain along the coastline, and the possibility for some freezing rain. Lee, as you mentioned, that's probably the biggest concern this weekend. We'll talk more about the timing of that freezing stuff in just a few minutes.
All right, sir, thank you. Now, this is what everybody's been talking about all over our state today. LL Bean's Hallmark customer service policy is changing.
One of the reasons people love the Freeport-based company is the ability to return any item at any time, no questions asked.
Chris Costa has spent the day in Freeport, joins us live. Chris, this is the exact policy that, what is the exact policy that created problems for the company?
Hey, Lee and Lindsay. So right now, customers will only have 1 year from the day they purchase an item to return it to the company, no questions asked, but they will need to provide proof of purchase, like a receipt. They didn't usually have to do that before. Now, we want to ask you, will this new policy keep you from buying stuff from LL Bean? Go to our pulse.newscentermaine.com poll, or you can open up the Pulse tab on our mobile apps. But before you choose if you'll keep shopping at LL Bean, we want to explain why the Maine-made company made the change. A spokesperson says people were effectively stealing from the bean boot business by cheating the system. Shuffling over sidewalks nationwide is the LL Bean boot, the iconic product of the Maine-based company known for its customer service. Bring it back anytime, no questions asked, is the company's hallmark.
So I thought it was really cool that that's a policy that they had kept consistent for a really long time.
Even people from Florida, like Anais Noah, have heard of the famous policy and product.
When we first came to Maine, that was what everybody was suggested I get as my first pair of snow boots was bean boots. Even if it's 6 years after, 5 years after, if anything happens with them, I can just take them back to the store and return them.
Now that policy is gone. That no questions asked guarantee, only good for 1 year from the date of purchase. LL Bean Executive Chairman Sean Gorman issuing this statement. People interpreted the guarantee well beyond its original intent, using it as a lifetime product replacement program.
It's not right. In my eyes, it's basically theft.
Eric Dubord is a manufacturer for the company.
It's not good. It's scary. It's affecting us as workers as well. It's affecting the workforce.
A company spokesperson says the number of people trying to cheat the system over the past 5 years doubled. People were trying to turn in items they had found in a thrift store or in the trash. Those returns cost more than the annual revenue the company made on their famous bean boots.
Well, I think it was time they changed. People do abuse it.
Lifelong Mainers like Archie Furbush don't mind the stricter rules. He's seen people return items that were 20 or 30 years old.
You know, if it's just worn out, it's worn out. I mean, we buy things all the time that gets worn out. But don't come to me and say, you know, I'm not happy with my meal after I've already eaten it.
See, I understand the change, but I also can see why people could be upset.
Now, the company will still replace items with a manufacturer's defect after 1 year, and through that, a company spokesperson says over the past 5 years, the company has lost $250 million on returned items that are classified by the company as destroy quality. Lee and Lindsay.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Everybody talking about that story today. So you still have time to vote in our Pulse poll. It will stay open throughout the next 90 minutes of our local news.
Governor Paula Page ordering inmates of the Down East Correctional Facility to be relocated early this morning. Governor LePage says the jail costs more than a maximum security prison and houses less than 100 prisoners. He says closing the facility will save taxpayers money, but the Machias community relies on the jail for jobs and labor. We'll have more on this story coming up at 5:30.
The CDC says that last week, 1 in 10 of all deaths reported in the United States were caused by flu or pneumonia. The last time we saw this much flu activity was 2009 with the swine flu epidemic.
Oxford County's incoming sheriff got a death threat before he was even sworn in, according to a public safety information officer. Officials say Joseph Salatka of Mexico called the state fire marshal's office and threatened to kill James Terrio. State troopers used caller ID to track down Salatka. He was charged with terrorizing.
All right, did you know there is a way to predict just how much heat you will need in any given day? Braindrops is coming up next. And
I was always hesitant because I didn't want it to be like a bait and switch for the followers.
From an Instagram account to a quarterly publication, Maine the Way is capturing the best this state has to offer.
All right, so in the last few weeks, we have gotten calls, we've gotten emails, and we've done multiple stories on your electric bills. People think that they seem to be astronomically out of control and they're not sure why. We've given you some suggestions on how to save on your electricity, and Keith is here with maybe one more explanation.
Yeah, I mean, of course the weather plays a role, right? But a lot of people don't realize that there's actually a unit of measurement designed to tell you how much heat you might be using. It's called a heating degree day or a cooling degree day, and this is the formula. Looks worse than it is. The base temperature, T base, is roughly what temperature average that you might need to start kicking heat in. Now, I think you see 65 and you say, no way I need heat at that point. But keep in mind, it's basically saying that the temperatures overnight are going to drop lower than that. So 65 in the United States, you take that minus the average temperature and you have your heating degree days. So if the mean temperature is 30, you have 35 heating degree days. Now, there's a lot of different adjustments that can be made regionally. Desert Southwest, for example, skews really high during the day, warm during the day, but then they cool down, so they have a slightly different algorithm. But this is the number, I'm sorry, there we go. This is the heating degree days that we use by region.
Okay.
No surprise here, right?
No.
We use a lot. It is
Yeah,
interesting
6,000.
that there is areas, of course, that use just a little bit more in the northern plains and whatnot. But this is a measurement, and I want to show you in Maine how this played out. This is month to date. This is actually January. So
Of this year, this past
of
January.
this year, yes, 1366 heating degree days. Now look at that number. Let's go to November's heating degree days, 842. So if you do the math on that, that's a 62% increase in the generalized idea of how much heat you might need to use. Now all of this comes back around though when it comes to cooling degree days, because guess what? It ain't that hot here.
No.
So New England, by far, uses the least air conditioning.
Because we only have about 2 months of summer.
And we also do not have it for the most part. So there's always that. But that's another explanation. I know people were looking for conspiracy.
Right.
I think it's just the weather.
It always comes back to science, doesn't it?
Somehow it does. Lindsay, what do you got?
All right, Keith took over our set, so we took over his. Your full forecast is coming up.
And did TV12 demand more money when he saw the salary of his former backup quarterback? Not so much. The prank that went way too far. Next.
Oh, our state is just one of those places where you take a picture of any landscape, you post it to Instagram, and it is gorgeous.
Hashtag no filter. The creators of a popular account, Maine the Way, are now taking samples of the state's stunning scenery from your social media to the coffee table. The slow pace of punching letters on a typewriter and the instantaneous platform of Instagram. An unlikely combo, but currently two vital parts of the Maine the Way equation.
We've been kind of floored by the response.
Christine Riley and Cam Held created the account a couple years ago. It has nearly 60,000 followers.
We want to sort of create a community of people that are inspired to showcase their work.
A collection of stunning Maine scenes captured by Christine and Cam and many, many contributors.
And we finally landed on the idea of doing a quarterly print publication.
Maine the Way is now also a hard copy magazine to keep on the coffee table or display as decor. Issue 1 is out now with 2, 3, and 4 already in the can.
I'm really eager to see this thing take off.
Cam, a native of upstate New York, and Christine from Freeport met in college. They quit freelance and 9-to-5 gigs to embark on a dream career. From their Portland apartment, they produce, package, and send it out. Not long, however, after the first issue debuted in November, they were in a serious crash.
Thankfully, we're really lucky to be doing well, but it's a lot of head injury, which just takes time.
I've been unable to work on computers, which has been difficult given the business we're in.
A donated typewriter from another local business allows Cam to keep working. A change of pace thanks to a piece of equipment with its own stories to tell.
Someone wrote a book of poetry on this typewriter. There's been like a communist manifesto written on it, so it's got some history, and now it's writing stuff for Maine the Way.
All right, guys, they say since the publication launched, they've received emails, calls, job applications, people wanting to work for them, but for now they're going to just keep it a two-person operation. Yeah. Keywords being for now.
Yeah, it's always room to expand.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a little bit of snow coming. The weekend, I don't love it. It's not terrible, but it's not like there's not much sun. You got some snow in there. Yes, it's you got any home improvement projects maybe? Be a good weekend for that. Here comes the snow moving through central parts of New York State into southern Vermont. It's part of the warm front. The warm front has overrunning, so the warm air overrunning, undercutting the colder air there. That's what's producing the precipitation. Most of it will be light tonight, but it will move in from southwest to northeast. And by midnight, pretty much everybody is snowing. Now it's light, again, a few moderate bursts possible, but generally light stuff through the evening. And by 6 a.m. tomorrow, now some warmer air moves in along the coastline. So we change over to rain along the coast. That's the case for the rest of the day for the coastline. Rain showers. While it's still snow in the mountains, that battleground continues through Sunday morning. Now by Sunday morning, a different piece of energy moves in, and that introduces some freezing rain across the interior Sunday morning through early Sunday afternoon before that batch moves out. I don't think ice amounts are huge. I do think we'll see some icing though on Sunday. Total snowfall amounts, this includes tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. So all of that time is just 1 to 3 inches for most of us. 3 to 6 in the mountains. They'll be happy about that. And they'll see just a little mixing in the mountains. I think for the most part it does remain snow until probably Sunday afternoon with a little freezing rain there. As far as ice accretion, again, the numbers here are not huge. You're looking at 0.1, maybe 0.2, which is on the low end of the threshold. But there is going to be a corridor of icing, which I think will extend all the way down into Freiburg, maybe the Sebago Lake region, and the vast majority of that will fall on Sunday morning. Overall, though, the pattern is relatively mild. You look at these lobes of cold air, and they're staying across Canada, not getting anywhere near Maine for the next 7 to 10 days. That correlates to warmer than average temperatures. Now, it doesn't mean we'll be in the 60s. It does mean that we'll stay consistently in the mid-upper 30s, and there will be some 40s in there as well. After some showers clearing on Monday, we're bright on Tuesday. Another sprinkle. There's a couple of showers around there on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll time that as we get closer. But I'll tell you what I don't see is any major snowstorms in the next 7 to 10 days, which isn't easy to say in this time of February. So relatively quiet as far as that goes.
Well, and with kids' school vacation coming up a week from next,
yes,
if there's no major storms, then the mountains should be packed with lots of people skiing.
That's good news for people traveling.
And they won't cancel any more school between now and then.
Yeah,
as it turns out.
There you go.
Yep.
A rough morning for the Boston Herald as they drop a bombshell article claiming Tom Brady wasn't going to play another down unless he had some of that Garoppolo money. Plot twist, that source was fake, they were tricked, and WEEI's Kirk Callahan took notice. Boston Herald sports writer Ron Borges reported TB12 wouldn't report to team activities if he didn't get a raise similar to Jimmy Garoppolo's mammoth deal he just struck yesterday. And it appears the story was born from a couple of text messages to Borges from a guy pretending to be Brady's agent, Don Yee. Now, the prankster is actually a WEEI listener, and he's now known as Nick from Boston. He called Kirk Callahan this morning and explained just how easy it was to trick Borges.
Somebody tweeted Ron Borges' phone number, and I just picked it up, and for some reason I just thought, hey, you know what, I'll text him and say I'm Don Yee. And he just went with it for some reason. He tried to call me 3 times, but I just didn't answer.
Right.
So then I was just like, whatever, screw it. I'll just call him, and he's going to know it's not Don Yee. And I called him and said, hey, Ronnie, it's Don. And we just,
oh, God, you talked to him as Don Yee?
Yes, I did.
Oh, my God.
And he ran with it, and the story has since been taken down from the Boston Herald website. It wasn't until this afternoon, though, that they acknowledged it was false and announced Borges' column has been suspended pending further review. Now, Lee, you were telling me earlier, Nick from Boston does not sound like Don Yee at all.
No, this is incredible because, yeah, I mean, Don Yee's from California. Nick from Boston had a 617 area code. They certainly don't sound anything alike, so a veteran reporter like Ron Borges should have known that this was a fake. But.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't want to knock another in the business down, but I mean, Google the number, you know?
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
All right, for a look at what's coming up at 5:30 on News Center Maine, Cindy Williams looking beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
For a good cause,
Center
right?
for Grieving Children Gala this evening. So, yeah. In the news today, though, Governor LePage is defending his decision to shut down the Down East Correctional Facility, but boy, did it come to a shock to the people at the facility. He says today was the day to move the inmates out. We're going to have team coverage from Augusta and Machias coming up on News Center at 5:30. Also, victims of violent crime say they deserve to know when their attackers are released from prison, how they're fighting for the right to protect themselves. All that and more coming up in the next half hour.
All right, Cindy, sounds good. Thanks so much.
All right, a Maine college student is the center of attention for his country at Olympic opening ceremony. We'll have a live report from South Korea coming up.
A A Bates College junior carried the flag of Cyprus into the Olympic opening ceremony in South Korea. Dinos Lefkaridis is the only member of the Team Cyprus. According to Bates, the International Olympic Committee only allowed one alpine skier from Cyprus, so Dinos had to prove he was the very best in the country. He will compete in the men's giant slalom next week.
So cool.
Very cool. Well, don't worry, you didn't miss the opening ceremony because of the 14-hour time change. NBC will show the whole thing tonight at 8 o'clock.
But if you really wanted to get up at 6 o'clock this morning, you certainly could have streamed the entire ceremony live through our mobile app or our website. It's really easy. Click on the Olympics section of our mobile app, and there is an entire list of events and competitions available for when you want to live stream. When it's time to watch, you click on the link, but if you just want to watch it on TV in prime time, you can see the programming schedule right there as well. We got you covered. All right, Paul Gerke was there when the Parade of Nations walked into the stadium. It's just, in that area, it's just such a huge event, planned down to every single detail. The whole place and all around the stadium must have been crazy.
Lee and Lindsay, the internet is a really dangerous place to be right now because if you don't want to see the spoilers, you're going to have a really hard time staying away from them. I'm not going to give you any, but picture this if you will. 35,000 spectators cheering on 92 countries, all packed into one place. The opening ceremony is always a spectacle unlike any other. There is lights and choreography and action, and to put on a show like that, as they say, it takes a village, and that village includes plenty of Americans, including the man you're about to meet. The Olympic Stadium has been a home away from home for Neil Dreher.
Very long way from home.
He's been working in Pyeongchang to ensure the opening ceremony soars.
Well, I do what's called theatrical automation. So, flying performers, flying scenery.
If you caught the 2014 Winter Olympic opening ceremony in Russia, you've seen Neil's work.
It was a massive show with a lot in the air at any given time.
In Sochi, he made great memories and a great friend, adopting one of those stray dogs and bringing it back to the United States.
I had to name her where I found her, and that's Fished, which was the name of the Olympic Stadium.
He isn't likely to adopt another pet in South Korea.
I've been advised against it by my family and friends.
But Neil says he will put on a great show.
Every country does a show that represents them.
And he can't wait for you to see it.
And I think this is going to be a really enjoyable show.
As the sun comes up behind me here on a Saturday morning in South Korea, the smell of fireworks is replaced by the scent of competition. This is the first time we're really going to see this Olympic park packed. 9 events going today, including 5 that will award the first medals of the game. But guys, do not be alarmed if you don't see Team USA up there on the medal count leaderboard. The American strongest events come later in the games.
All right, Paul, enjoy yourself out there. Thank you very much.
The excitement's in the air.
Yeah, all right, we want to leave you with a look at this. You got to see it really quick.
Yeah.
This is, forget the freezing temperatures. This is the delegation of Tonga, and he did this in the summer games as well. He did it again for the winter games. He walked in without a shirt on. If that doesn't get you ready for News Center at 5:30 and tonight's Olympic coverage, nothing will. News Center at 5:30 starts right now.